Yo, what's up guys? I hope everyone's staying hydrated as summer comes around. It's finally Dunu time. We'll be talking about the SA6 MK2 today, and as many of you may know, the hype was through the roof when the Ultra's released, with many complaints about the limited run and FOMO. So then, how does the MK2 stack up against the Ultras and original SA6, and should you buy it? Well, let's find out. Starting with the low end, the bass is more audible compared to the Ultra and the original versions. Bass lines are slightly more forward and easier to pick out from the rest, and there's more slam to the mid bass on hip hop tracks. Speed and separation is still fast, clean, with zero masking like before, but it's not going to have the extended sub-bass rumble and physicality of a dynamic driver from the Blessing 3 EQ'd for example. So overall, still an improvement in the bass over the other two versions, but it's still BA bass, lacking the overall heaviness in terms of note weight and the ending impact, but regardless, still very clean and technical. As for the mids, it's very relaxing and even more pushed back than the original and Ultra. I don't think anyone will have problems with vocals being too forward or sounding harsh, since they're very smooth and gentle, and everything feels very open, airy, as instruments are beautifully layered and float around your headspace. But my major nitpick of the MK2 is that the mids are too recessed for me. I don't think Dunu should have lowered the gain even more than before. For example, Natalia's voice sounds too light and soft with little power or emotional impact. The Ultras were already borderline being recessed, so this change really pushed it over the edge for me. I also often found vocals to be buried and pushed back just slightly too much on busier tracks like Traces of Time, just like other mid-range instruments such as pianos, strings, and flutes, which can get hard to pick out, especially with the increased emphasis in the bass and the treble. Vocal timbre was too light and distant for me, and overall lacks the engagement compared to other sets like the RS5. Now, I understand some people like this relaxed, pushed out feeling of the vocals because it gives a sense of a more open soundstage, but the details in the voice are lost, and the last bits of extension from the singer's breath becomes masked by the other frequencies and just gets harder to pick out. So even though the treble is very airy, extended, and smooth, for example on cymbal strikes, just like the Ultra, the MK2 actually highlights more of the treble, making micro details more noticeable and easier to pick out versus the other two. Although it does get slightly spicy for me at higher volumes depending on your ears. However, because Dunu shifted the focus onto the lower and higher end more, this decision instead takes away your focus from the mid-range, making the mid-range feel too pushed back and harder to hear. The mids feel like they're getting buried from both sides, even though there's this open sense of space, and this change to me makes the MK2 basically a slightly more V-shaped and funner sounding Ultra and original SA6, although at the cost of pushback and thinner mids. But this could be good for you if you like a more relaxing presentation. So it really depends on your library. If you have a lot of vocals, then I would just avoid this set completely. So if that's what you're looking for, then go for it. The MK2 is very capable in terms of layering and resolution or note sharpness, and easily punches above its price range and more. But just be prepared to take a hit in the mids. For comparisons, the MK2 is slightly better than the Blessing 3 in terms of overall technicalities, but I'd rather have the dynamic drivers in the Blessing 3 and EQ it, or wait for the Blessing 3 Dusk, since it's just way better value and you get the physicality of the dynamic drivers. And if I were to rank the SA6 lineup, my favorite would be the Ultra since it's just the OG but with better treble extension, and then followed by the OG since both of them are very mid-centric, and then lastly the MK2s because the other two scales better and I just like my mids and vocals okay, shoot me. But yeah, that's all for today. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see everyone in the next video. Peace!